as I'm doing CPR on this little boy, all I can see... Sorry. I know we usually keep it fun and light, but all I can see is oh gosh. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the video, welcome to the channel today. I've got to do this really quick because my kids are here. I'm in my house. They're going to be up here in no time, totally interrupting whatever I'm filming. So let's go. We want to share with you guys what it is like being a cop.
He's the best.
And on this channel, we do that in a lot of different ways. One of those ways is sharing with you some of the stories and experiences I've had over the last 12 years doing this job. If you are not decent for the camera, you cannot walk in here. That is my wonderful wife, Lindsay, FuzzFam 2. Hey, what's all the ruckus in there? Let's go to my office. Behold, my office. Definitely one of the best parts about being a cop. I don't sit behind a desk or a computer screen. Well, it's not true. I do have a computer screen, but I don't sit behind a desk. This is my desk. We've been discussing some of my mistakes and follies as a rookie police officer in my first agency. I'll throw a link right up here to the last video, but we're gonna continue right where we left off on the other one, so feel free to check that one out if you haven't seen it. So if putting graffiti on a legally parked car and trying to pull over a delivery truck was not enough.
Why? You did what?
Here's what I did next. I'm sitting in a parking lot, working on my computer. I get a priority call that comes in, you know, like an accident with injuries, somebody's dying, you know, something that got my adrenaline level up. I am in a brand new patrol car. I had just got this brand, and it was actually a truck. It was a brand new Chevy Silverado. So I've got my computer screen up, and in that car at the time, the stand had it a little bit higher. It was ridiculous. It actually went up here. It pretty much took up all your view from here. So the call comes in, my adrenaline goes up, I hurry and throw it in drive. I turn the wheel to the right, which of course turns the truck in this direction. And what do you think was in this general area where I couldn't see because of my stupid computer screen being up?
Penguins.
No, not quite.
China?
No, a freaking light pole. I accelerated quite rapidly right into said light pole. Brand new truck, less than 1,000 miles on it. Young Deputy Ben has seen better days. The future of his law enforcement career is flashing in front of his eyes, and it is not looking so good. Yeah, the truck had to be towed. It didn't like end my job or my career like I thought it may. Part of that is because cops get in accidents. It's not a matter of if, it's when. So learn from my mistakes, especially those of you out there that are in the law enforcement profession, especially if you're new. Put your stupid computer screen down when you drive. Obviously, a lot of stuff cops do is going to be serious. We see some of the worst that life has to offer. And I've had a lot of questions about, you know, what's the worst experience you've had, or what's the scariest experience you've had, which is always kind of a, I guess, not cool question to ask a cop. But just to give you guys a little insight into the reality of what this job is, I'll give you this one. So this call goes out, and it's one of those that every cop hates to hear. Firefighter, EMT, anybody honestly hates to hear. It's the call of an unconscious, possibly not breathing baby. So I respond, lights and siren to that call. I get there first. I go in, and this mom is beside herself, losing her mind, because her, I want to say it was about 9-month-old, 1-year-old baby was in the crib, not breathing. And so I took the baby out of the crib and I started CPR on this little boy. And the sucky part is I didn't even register or realize it at the moment, at that particular moment, but the boy was already dead. He had died. And I didn't know that he had passed away yet, and I just was trying my hardest to save this little boy's life. And wow, start talking about these memories, and wouldn't you know, the emotions all come back. I must be human after all. I, of course, after a minute or two of CPR, you know, begin to realize that the baby is gone. And the hard part for me, obviously that's going to be hard for anybody to deal with, but the hard part for me was my son was the same age as this kid at the time. So as I'm doing CPR on this little boy, all I can see sorry, I know we usually keep it fun and light, but all I can see is oh gosh, if I can spit it out, all I can see is my son's face on this kid. I see my son's face on this baby, and I feel in a way that I'm trying to didn't expect that. Fortunately, and I consider it a personal, blessing. A lot of people will say something's wrong with me and other cops, and I'm sure psychiatrists would be able to chime in on this, but I was a little bit bothered by it for about 2 hours. It was bothering me and I was emotional and stuff like that. But after a couple hours, it was gone from my mind. I didn't even remember that I went on that call. I blocked it out in my mind, and I was more worried about what I was gonna have for lunch. And I was back to my normal stupid self within a couple hours. I didn't consciously make a decision to do that. It's like it was just taken away from me. So I apologize. I know that was a little real, maybe a little raw, but guys, that's the reality of this job. If you're watching these videos, you may be watching because you wonder how in the world I function as an adult and what is wrong with me mentally, but you may also be watching because you're interested in this job and you like the insights that we give into who we are and why we do what we do and what we do. Well, this is what we do. We deal with some of this stuff. If you're thinking of being a police officer, you're gonna experience these things. How about we bounce right back into something a little more lighthearted, a little bit fun. I think I'll tell you guys, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm thinking of sharing this with you. I had a traumatizing experience at my last agency I worked with. It involves underwear. And I know there's guys from my last department that watch this channel, and so they're probably going, yes, yes, the underwear story. And I can't believe he's gonna share that. The advantage though is I get to tell it as it is from my perspective. When this story got told at my department by other people, they would skew the details and somehow paint me out as the guy that made the mistake. As you will see, I was the victim in this experience. Here's what went down. I'm working out, we have a gym in the basement. Also working out is one of our lieutenants. He gets done with his workout, goes in, showers and changes before I do. I go in, shower, and go to get dressed. One little problem. There's something missing. It's my drawers. My underwear. Gone. Was on the bench. Now it's not on the bench. Only one other person here. I look over at him. Hey, LT, do you know what are you wearing?
He had my underwear.
He is wearing my freaking underwear.
That's messed up.
He claims it was a mistake and thought they were his. So he removes my underwear, puts them back on the bench. So I guess the real question here at this point is, what would you do? The answer to that question is easy as a backseat participant to this. If you've got time to analyze it, it's easy. I didn't have that time or that luxury. There's no skipping around this. I'll just cut to the point. I put on my underwear so that I could get dressed and leave. I put on the underwear that he had been wearing.
Why? You did what?
My boys, his boys. No! Guys, I did not intentionally, okay, now it sounds like I have to defend myself, which I do. Okay, I did put on this underwear that he had just been wearing. What you've got to understand is I was traumatized. This is not something I'm used to dealing with. I can deal with a lot of bad stuff on the street as a cop. I can think on my feet, I can make split-second decisions, but for some reason, in this particular scenario, I was paralyzed. I didn't know what to do, so I defaulted to my regular routine, which is putting on my underwear, then my clothes. I should have burned those things and just gone commando the rest of the day. I admit that I made a mistake, but it was a result of severe mental trauma. Great, so there it is. So now people can make fun of me about that. But the real funny part about that story, and what's very interesting to me, is it didn't stop there. This particular lieutenant, which I don't know whether or not he watches our channel. If he does, feel free to call me out on this, bro. Call me up and say, nah, but this is how I remember it. There was other incidences, not just this one. This was not an isolated thing. Another cop has a towel that he has personally embroidered with his name on it, keeps it in the locker room. This officer claims he told me, and he told other officers in one of our lineups one day, in which this very topic was being discussed. Well, that's funny, because I had an experience with that same lieutenant. I went down to the gym one day, and he was flossing with my towel.
Dude.
And this officer, besides being in the moment, just being shocked by this egregious display, he wondered to himself, how many times has this lieutenant used my towel? I wiped my face with this towel. Clearly there is something more going on here. I mean, one incident, but two?
I'll look into it.
All right, guys. If you are not a part of the FuzzFam squad, please hit that subscribe button right now. Join us, be a part of what we're doing. We love you guys. We will see you soon on the next video. Have a fantastic week. Peace.
China.